Celebrity transformations can get so extreme, it's hard to believe they started with just a tiny fix. For some stars, surgery helped at first, but then it went too far. These are the stories of famous people whose faces changed in ways no one expected. Mickey Rourke. Back in the 80s, Mickey Rourke looked like he stepped straight out of a magazine, with slick hair, sharp cheekbones, and a kind of beauty that couldn't be copied. He was the guy every director wanted and every fan admired. But somewhere between Hollywood fame and a short boxing career, his face started taking real hits. Literally. Boxing wrecked his nose and crushed his cheekbones. To fix the damage, he went under the knife again and again, 5 times, just for his nose, plus surgeries on his face. What was supposed to be repair work ended up changing the whole structure of his features. His sharp, edgy face turned round and swollen, and fillers made everything look a little too stiff. He even admitted that he trusted the wrong surgeon, and that the results weren't what he hoped. Still, when he starred in The Wrestler, he reminded everyone that talent doesn't fade, even if the face behind it does. But while Mickey was trying to fix damage from the ring, Pete Burns was turning his face into art, or at least, his version of it. Pete Burns. For Pete, what started as one nose job after an accident turned into a full-blown obsession with changing his face. The Dead or Alive frontman already had a bold style, but as time passed, he took that boldness straight to the operating table. It all began with a simple nose job after an injury, but one procedure turned into hundreds. His nose got thinner, his cheeks puffed up with implants, and his lips, those lips became the main event. He had so much filler injected that they swelled beyond control, leading to pain so bad he needed emergency surgery. And even after that, he kept going. Pete wasn't quiet about his choices either. He owned it all, saying he liked the attention and the change. His face became smooth, tight, and almost wax-like, with cheekbones that looked sculpted from clay. People didn't always understand it, but for Pete, it was part of who he was. His surgeries weren't about fixing, they were about becoming someone new. And while Pete leaned into the extreme, the next story of Carol Bryan will show you that not everyone goes under the needle for fame or flair. Some just want to feel like themselves again. Carol Bryan. Carol Bryan wasn't chasing celebrity looks or wild changes. She just wanted to look a little fresher. At 47, she tried dermal fillers, hoping for a small lift. But what she got was a disaster that changed her life. The fillers used on her were a dangerous mix, including silicone, and they weren't placed properly. In just a few months, her face began to swell uncontrollably. Her forehead drooped so far over her eyes that she had to use tape just to see. Her cheeks tightened in strange ways, and nothing looked or felt right anymore. She tried to hide from the world, avoiding mirrors, cameras, even daylight. Years went by before she found the right surgeons who could help. They operated for 17 straight hours just to fix some of the damage. She survived it, but not without cost. She lost vision in one eye and had to relearn how to face people again. Carol's quiet pain and fight to recover takes a much darker turn compared to the famously public journey of Jocelyn Wildenstein, a woman who turned surgery into a signature look. Jocelyn Wildenstein. Jocelyn Wildenstein's transformation is one of the most extreme and talked about in the world of cosmetic surgery. She didn't just want to enhance her feature, she wanted to look like a cat, and she was completely serious about it. Her surgeries reportedly began during her marriage to billionaire art dealer Alec Wildenstein in the 1990s. Jocelyn claimed her husband had a fascination with big cats, and over time, she started to reshape her face to reflect that feline look. What started with minor tweaks turned into a full-on obsession. She had numerous eyelid lifts to give her eyes that signature upward slant, as well as cheek implants and jaw reshaping. Her cheekbones became more pronounced and angular, and her skin looked tight and stretched. With every new procedure, her face moved further away from its original softness. Eventually, the media began calling her Catwoman, a name that stuck with her for decades. Strangely, Jocelyn denied having gone overboard, often saying that her exotic features came from her Swiss ancestry, not surgery. But old photos told a different story. Her earlier look was far more natural, with soft, rounded features. Over time, that gave way to a sharp, heavily altered face that fascinated and shocked the public. Despite the criticism, Jocelyn never stepped out of the spotlight. She embraced her look and continued to live her high society lifestyle with confidence. Raji Nareen Singh. All she wanted was a little boost, a low-cost beauty fix that ended in one of the most shocking plastic surgery stories out there. She found someone offering cheap filler injections and thought she could get a quick upgrade without breaking the bank. What she didn't know was that the person wasn't even a real doctor. Instead of safe fillers, Raji got a mix of cement, mineral oil, and tire sealant injected into her cheeks, lips, and jawline. The reaction was brutal. Her face became swollen and full of hard lumps. The materials hardened under her skin, leaving her with a look that made people stare. For years, she stayed hidden. Makeup couldn't help. Nothing worked. She finally found help through the show. Botched, where real doctors removed some of the damage. They couldn't fix everything, but they gave her face some softness again. She still lives with signs of what happened, but she's no longer hiding. Raji's story is raw and painful, but she found a voice through it. Anastasia Pokreshchuk. Ukrainian model and influencer, Anastasia Pokreshchuk isn't interested in subtle beauty. She's proud of standing out, and she's made sure her face reflects that, literally. The Ukrainian influencer made headlines for having what's believed to be the biggest cheeks in the world, thanks to extreme filler injections. What started as a few enhancements in her early 20s grew into a full facial transformation. Her cheeks are now so large and angular they dominate her entire face, giving her an almost cartoon-like look. Her lips have been filled too, and her jawline reshaped with more injections to match the new structure of her face. She said in interviews that before surgery, she felt like a plain, gray mouse. But now, she says she feels confident, glamorous, and powerful. Anastasia doesn't hide anything. She shares her procedures online, shows her doctor visits, and proudly posts before and after shots. Critics might call it extreme or even shocking, but she doesn't mind the attention. She's built a brand around her appearance, and her confidence is very real. She's not chasing youth or fixing damage. This is exactly how she wants to look. But while Anastasia's changes were her choice and done on her own terms, the next celebrity found out that too much tweaking, even with good intentions, can make you lose the look you were trying to protect in the first place. Courtney Cox. For years, she was America's sweetheart, the funny, down-to-earth Monica from Friends. Playing Monica on Friends made her a popular, and for years people saw her as someone who aged gracefully on screen. But as she entered her 40s, and the pressure to stay youthful grew louder in Hollywood, she started getting small cosmetic procedures. At first, it was just a bit of Botox and a few fillers, nothing major. But little by little, the work began to show. Her cheeks became fuller, her face tighter, and her expressions less natural. She's admitted in interviews that the changes crept up on her. Each time she got a filler, she thought it looked good, until she added more, and then more again, trying to balance everything out. Eventually, her face looked completely different from the one fans remembered. She reached a point where she didn't even recognize herself in the mirror. In 2017, Courtney decided to reverse it all. She had her fillers dissolved and slowly returned to a more natural look. Now, she talks openly about the experience and says she's learned to embrace aging rather than fight it. Her story stands out because, unlike many others, she was willing to step back and admit things had gone too far. But what happens when a wrong decision can't be fully undone? When one mistake leaves a mark that even the best doctors can't fix? That's exactly what happened to the next star. Priscilla Presley. She was once the picture of classic beauty, elegant, with a soft look that made her stand out in old Hollywood. Priscilla had the kind of beauty that turned heads in any room. As Elvis's wife and a Hollywood icon in her own right, she had elegance, charm, and a signature soft look. But all of that changed in the early 2000s, when a decision to get facial injections ended in disaster. She trusted a man who claimed to be a doctor, but he wasn't. He injected her face with industrial-grade silicone, a product that's meant for car parts, not human skin. The reaction was severe. Her cheeks swelled unevenly, her lips looked distorted, and her once smooth skin became tight and shiny. Later, she went through several corrective surgeries, but the damage couldn't be completely erased. Even with professional help, her expressions remained limited, and her natural look faded. Over time, more procedures like Botox and facelifts added to the problem, making her face look overly stretched and rigid. In 2019, she had to undergo surgery again, this time to remove cancerous skin tissue from her nose. Fearing new scars, she reportedly returned to cosmetic treatments to hide the marks. But each new fix only added another layer to the already altered look. Priscilla's case became a warning story, not just about bad doctors, but about the emotional pressure to keep chasing youth. But while Priscilla's change came from misplaced trust, the next celebrity was never misled. She walked into every surgery by choice, and she's still not finished. Katie Price. Once a natural beauty with a soft, youthful face, Katie Price has turned cosmetic surgery into part of her lifestyle. Katie built her entire public image on being bold, open, and totally unfiltered, and that includes her plastic surgery journey. From her early days as a glamour model to now, her face has gone through more changes than most can count. She's had countless procedures, several rhinoplasties, 6 facelifts, cheek and lip fillers, brow lifts, and jawline tweaks. Her face today looks nothing like it did when she first became famous. Her cheeks are puffed up with filler, her lips are large and heavily shaped, and her brows sit high due to repeated lifts. She's admitted that her most recent facelift left her looking like a monster at first, and even her fans noticed how tight and unnatural her features had become. Still, she isn't backing down. Katie talks about her surgeries openly, comparing her body to a car that needs constant work. She says she'll keep going until she reaches the look she wants, whatever that may be. Critics have a lot to say, but Katie seems unfazed. For her, surgery is just part of life. It's maintenance, not vanity. Whether people love or hate her choices, she's not interested in pleasing anyone else. She's rewriting beauty on her own terms, one surgery at a time. Whether driven by fame, confidence, fear, or just the urge to change, these faces just proved how far people are willing to go to look different. If you like this, don't forget to like, share, and comment. Follow for more real and unexpected celebrity stories.